Ah, there you are. Well, as you can see this morning, I am on a stubble field. Now, it was cut several weeks ago, and I was hoping to decoy some wood pigeons on it, but for some reason they've lost interest in it. The field was cut quite late in the season, so the birds maybe have moved on to beech mass or acorns or whatever they can find in the hedgerows. But there is quite a few rooks, jackdaws and the odd hooded crow and magpie, so I thought I would try and target the hooded crows and magpies. Now, as you can see, I'm using the same sort of setup. I have a dead rabbit for bait, and I have a dead hooded crow which I set up in a little wire cradle as a decoy. The crow's giving me a wee bit of a hard time here. It's still half frozen, so it's a wee bit difficult setting it up on the cradle the way I want it. But it still should be more realistic looking than a plastic decoy. Well, that's me set up. I'll head back to the hide. The hide's pretty dark, but I still like wearing a face veil, because I have a little slot cut in the camouflage net to shoot out of, and as I'm looking back and forth trying to see if there's any birds landed, I don't want the light reflecting on my face. That'll be a real giveaway. I usually don't wear gloves. I don't like wearing gloves. The same thing could be said for my hands. I suppose I should have them covered, but I usually don't wear them unless it really gets cold, and later on I started wearing them. I'm using my Theoben MFR this morning. It hasn't been out too much. It's FAC. It's running at about 30 foot-pounds plus, using .22 Bisley Magnums, and for that reason I've set the decoy and the bait up at about 40 yards. Now, I've been sitting almost an hour and I noticed a hooded crow up in a tree on the right there, but as soon as I got the camera on him, of course he flew off, but thankfully he circled round and landed to the left hand side of my decoy and bait. At this point I'm wondering, is he... I think he's just over 40 yards. I think he's near 45. There's a wee bit of a breeze coming from the right, and I'm wondering if I should wait till he gets closer and I'm sure of my range, but it gives me such a good opportunity here sitting still. I aimed a wee bit to the right and took the shot. And he went down like a sack of spuds. Not a movement out of him. And from the little action camera. Now, it's not too long to the rest of the corvid residents, like rooks and jackdaws, spot the hooded crow lying dead in the field, and they're not happy about it. But they prefer to fly around above or land on a nearby tree. They will very rarely land on the ground beside a dead corpse, and they will have next to no interest in the dead rabbit. I've never seen a rook or a jackdaw feed on a dead rabbit. Now, if I change the bait to a loaf of bread, then yes, I will bait them to the ground for a shot, but not a rabbit apparently. Thankfully though, the commotion has attracted two other hooded crows. Now, they don't land as yet, but land in a nearby tree, as you'll see about 100 yards away. So I'm pretty confident that I will get another opportunity, if I'm patient. Now, a good bit of time has gone past. The birds that were sitting in the trees seemed to have lost interest and flew off, and I must have been footering about on my phone because I didn't see this hooded crow land at all, and he sat out there like a statue, begging to be shot, and I didn't notice him for ages. And when I finally did notice him, he started to get very fidgety. I'm thinking about taking the shot here. I'm wondering how much wind I'm going to have to allow for. And he decides to start moving about the place. He's just not content. And again he hunkers down in a wee hollow here. He's right behind my range marker for 40 yards. I should have had the shot taken when I was mucking about my phone, and he was sitting out there as proud as punch, offering me a really good opportunity. But that's how things go, unfortunately. Although the day did start off nice and bright, the weather was starting to change big time, as you can see from this bit of speeded up footage. The wind picked up that much, I actually had to put my foot on the bottom of the hide net to stop it blowing up around the hide. The rain started coming, and while this was all happening, a hooded crow decided to land. Now, this bird's sitting out there 45 yards. It's blowing a gale, and I'm thinking to myself, should I even attempt this shot? But thankfully the bird starts to walk in closer to my 40-yard zero, and it spurs me on, gives me a bit of confidence. Every little bit helps with windy conditions like this. That, and he gives me a lovely shot at his chest. I decided to hold a little bit more to the right and take the shot. I wouldn't exactly call that long range shooting for an air rifle, but in those windy conditions I was quite happy with that shot. It's that windy, even the little action camera didn't pick up the pellet strike home. Almost immediately, this cheeky magpie landed, and I thought I was going to get a bonus bird. But unfortunately, when I went to zoom in, he cleared off. Now, I haven't had any activity for a while. I know there's a third bird about, so I decided to go out, lift my decoy bird, and set it over the top of one of the birds I've just shot to make it look as if they're fighting, hoping that this might aggravate the third bird to come down and give me an opportunity. And within minutes, it noisily arrived overhead, but unfortunately it just landed in the tree across from me and wouldn't land on the ground. After a while the bird had lost interest and flew off, so I made one last final ditch effort. I went out and lifted the decoy bird in case it was putting it off from landing, hoping that it might again just land beside the dead birds I have just shot. As you can see in the background, the weather wasn't improving, and after a while I got a short but rather cold flurry of snow, the first snow I've seen this year. My feet were getting cold, my hands were getting cold, and after the snow I decided to call it a morning and quit. Ah, it's nice to get straightened up again. And as you can see, the sun has once again put in an appearance, but the temperature wasn't going up much.
Well, just the two birds. Both heart shots. That's the second one. I actually thought they were 45 yards at the start, but they were right in line with the rabbit decoy. Or sorry, rabbit bait and the crow decoy I had out. I can't quite remember what point I was aiming for. I think this one was the back. But both took them nice and cleanly, didn't go anywhere. But we're about 40 yards. I thought they were a wee bit further, but thankfully there isn't much difference between 40 and 45 yards with my rifle. But that's a good job when I was hitting over in the hay, or sorry, the straw bales over there.